Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi Batra and this is Market Today, a show where we'll help you understand the closing action on the D Street. Joining in with me is Shail Patnagar. Remember, the markets have bounced back pretty smartly in trade. It was the Israel-Iran tensions that weighed heavy on the markets in the first half of the trading session, but the markets have bounced back now and are now trading at the day's high point. About 0.6% of a surge can be seen on the Nifty. 22,140 is the level at which the Nifty is hovering at, and it's the banks to thank for with this kind of a recovery. The Nifty bank is now trading at 0.9% of gains near the day's high point as well, 47,495 for this one, especially with regards to the private sector banks and the leader HDFC Bank that's contributing about 50 points to the surge in the overall Nifty gains. Shell.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's indeed been a very remarkable day for Indian equities. We started completely on the back foot with sentiment trashed across the globe. Before markets opened, there was this rampant fear across the globe that the escalation between Iran and Israel had taken a turn for the worse, and that's the reason why both the Nifty and the Bank Nifty opened substantially lower, actually gap downs. What is remarkable about today's rally is this very smart recovery from which we have seen since morning. Nifty's low, ladies and gentlemen, was 21,760. At the moment you are at 22,147, so it's a journey of about 380 points from the day's low. The journey is even more remarkable if you see the Bank Nifty now trading 429 points higher at 47,500. Remember, the intraday low was 46,600. So it's a journey of 900 points towards 950 points that we've seen over the last three and a half years, and it's been a very, very smooth ride. The low was made in the first 5 minutes of trade, and beyond that, we've seen a very, very sharp upward momentum. In fact, now about 8 indices are in the green. We tracked 19 for you. The top gainer is the Nifty Financial Services Index, followed by the Banking Index. And what's wonderful is the kind of advance and decline ratios that we've seen in the markets. On the NSE 500, which is the broadest measure, out of 500 stocks, 232 are in the green. In the morning, there were just 40 stocks in the green. So you can well imagine how this broad-based rally has lifted all boats in the tide that has come in, which is driven by liquidity. Overall, if you see, the advance decline ratio on the National Stock Exchange is 1:1, which is 1,021 shares in the green, 1,067 in the red. Remember, in the morning there were just 300 shares that were in the green. So the ratio has improved dramatically. It's a combination of short covering and fresh buying that has brought this wonderful momentum back on the street. We are going to be joined by two individuals, Vinay Rajani. He's the Senior Technical Analyst at HDFC Securities, and Prashant Tapse, Research Analyst and Senior VP at Mehta Equities. Both of them will be joining us shortly, one after the other. But a fantastic rally that we've seen. I'll mention a couple of record highs. Okay, Mr. Vijay Rajani is with us. Just a moment, please. The highs that are there in the market are Linde India, 3% higher, 74.20. Anand Rathi Securities 1% higher, 47.80. Thermax 1% higher, 47.97, and a whole host of counters such as NAM India, Bharti Airtel, and Par India. Mr. Rajani is with us. A very good morning, good afternoon to you, Vinay. How do you see this recovery on the last working day of the week, and what are the two stocks that you're looking at?
Yeah, good afternoon and thanks for having me on the show. So we can say resilience at its best, because Nifty has risen more than 400 points and almost 1,000 points recovery in the Bank Nifty. So we have seen a great strength in yesterday's session also, when Nifty was down by 150 points. Breadth of the market was quite strong. The number of stocks hitting 52-week high were intact, like a bullish momentum, bullish market, and number of stocks hitting upper circuits were strong. So these were all showing the strong breadth in our market. So I had a strategy in my mind before today's market opened, that if Nifty breaks the first 15 minutes low again, then I would have turned bearish. but that has worked out. In fact, whatever low which we have seen in the Nifty in the first 15 minutes, that is protected, and after that we have seen a nice recovery of more than 400 points. And today, as you said, Bank Nifty has taken a lead, and we have seen that the Nifty 500 index and the Nifty mid cap index has recovered from the important support of 50 days EMA. So there has been a broad-based really advanced decline, and the breadth indicators were quite strong in the market. And Indian domestic markets were very strong as compared to the global markets. So overall, yeah, it is a nice recovery, and I would say that it should sustain. In the technical term, we can say if it closes here, Nifty and Bank Nifty both, then it will be called as a bullish piercing line candlestick pattern, which is a bullish formation on the daily chart. So waiting for the close, this is that if it closes around here, then there would be a confirmation of the candlestick bullish breakouts. So yes, overall I am optimistic. There could be some running correction or 100 points correction again from this level in Bank Nifty, and Nifty could go down again 50, 70 points. But overall, I feel that the setup is quite strong. Many stocks are still hitting 52-week highs. That's a strong sign. So I would suggest that one should continue to hold on to the long positions with the today's low positionally as a stop loss. And on the upside, I see a resistance around 22,300 to 22,400 in the Nifty. So I am a bit hopeful. I am expecting that this should be the bottom, because we saw that 21,700 act as a strong support on 20th March. That was a swing low, and today's low is also around that level, 21,777. So there could be a chance of double bottom around this level, 21,750. So with that stop loss, one should keep and hope that it will again resume the uptrend. On the upside, immediate resistance is seen at 22,300 to 22,400.
Mr. Rajani, also wanted to understand from you, how are you looking at HDFC Bank with the kind of substantial recovery that we've seen in trade today? It's up by 2% odd at 1525 odd levels, especially because tomorrow is when the company will report its earnings, and there are wide expectations that the profitability could be seen rising by over 50% on a year-on-year basis this time around. So fundamentally, there are expectations, and the way technicals are playing out, could you give us some sense?
Yes, sorry, Sakshi, I would not be able to comment anything on HDFC Group because I'm a group employee. I cannot comment.
All right, sure. Apart from this, ahead of earnings, even Wipro is rallying in trade, about 1.6% higher in trade. Could you give us a sense on this one?
Yeah, so Wipro has seen a healthy correction. On 19th February, the high was at 546. So that was a major top, we can say. From that level, it has come down to the level of 437. So healthy correction, and the kind of underperformance it has registered. Today, along with the other IT stocks like Infosys has bounced back from the lower levels, and TCS is also trying. So entire IT space has witnessed a healthy correction. Now they seems to have turned oversold on the oscillators on the short-term charts. So there could be a pullback rally, but it is one of the underperformer, I must say. If IT sector has to do well, then TCS, which has already come out with a good results, can do well. So there are many stocks which are looking better than the Wipro. So Wipro could show some pullback from here as it is looking oversold. So along with the IT sector, we can expect some pullback, and the stop loss in the trading long position should be kept at 437. But overall, from the IT large cap space, I would prefer going long in TCS rather than Wipro.
Like to prefer TCS rather than Wipro at this point in time. Several other stocks that are buzzing in trade, especially in the F&O space. Escorts Kubota is up by 3.7%. Very strong move can be seen on this one. Bajaj Finance is the other one, which is also the top mover on the Nifty right now. 3.5% higher for this one. From the auto basket, it's Maruti Suzuki that's coming back in flavor, 2.6% higher for this too. From the metals pack, you have Hindustan Copper, 2.7% higher. Jindal Steel and Power also up and about in trade. These are the kind of stocks that are buzzing in action. Bajaj Finance for you, how are you looking at the counter now?
Yeah, so kind of bullish engulfing candlestick formation is there, and it has surpassed the 200 days EMA again. So previously in last couple of sessions, we saw that stock came down and shown some running correction. But today's move is quite significant. Today engulfing pattern is there. with the market. It is if it is closing here, almost it looks like that it should close here, so it will be turned out as a bullish formation. So definitely it should not be taken lightly. Short position should be cut here because it's a bullish formation and bullish reversal pattern. So looks quite strong. And the immediate resistance for the Bajaj Finance comes around 7350, which happens to be the previous swing high on the short-term chart. So I'm expecting that 200 to 300 points pullback should be there, and it should continue to extend its pullback. So overall pattern is quite strong. So after running correction, it has resumed the uptrend.
Okay. Mr. Rajani, let's just answer how should I say, a fundamental question up front. Till yesterday we were in great pain as far as the pace of decline was concerned. Then you have this blowout that has happened in the Middle East. We obviously went gap down. And now it seems that once 21,800 has been tested on the Nifty, all that was painful has now disappeared. Are we just reacting very quickly, or you think that the worst is behind us? We don't know what will happen over the weekend.
Yeah, so definitely we cannot rule out the negative outcomes which can be there from the geopolitical issues. We cannot rule out the negativity which comes from the US market because it's a largest market, and definitely we have to react towards that. But overall, I believe that Indian markets will continue to outperform. The kind of resilience which we have seen in the recent past, the kind of breadth we have seen yesterday also, as I told you that yesterday Nifty was down by more than 150 points, but the breadth was quite strong. So there is a money which is getting applied in the Indian stock market. So there is somewhere a bull market is definitely there in the Indian indices and Indian market. So basically, I believe that we will definitely outperform in the global negative scenario. We will fall less. And if something comes out positively from the global markets, then we will rise higher than them. We will rise more than them. So definitely, I'm expecting resilience and I'm expecting outperformance to continue. And I have a hope that 21,700 should act as a strong support. This could be a short-term bottom also. So keeping that stop loss in mind, definitely I would like to go long here. So 21,700 is a stop loss for me. If that breaks, then definitely it will be a negative trend for the market. But I am a bit optimistic about Indian markets, and I feel that there is a higher probability that it will not break the strong support of 21,700, and ultimately it will go to hit a new all-time high.
Okay, Mr. Rajani, we'll let that enthusiasm prevail over market today as well. The only point I never fail to mention is the moment people start thinking and seeing a bit of green on Dalal Street, they immediately forget their most immediate problems and start this buying spree, which turns out to be a dead cat bounce. Only time will tell whether this is a dead cat bounce or indeed a very nice uptick as you suggest. What really happened in the trade today was the defense stocks. I'd just like to gather your attention on a couple of them. Let's look at Cochin Shipyard, 1100, up 2.1%. A strong move coming in on Hindustan Aeronautics, 3738, up 1.6%. And of course, Mazgaon Dock and Garden Reach Shipbuilders also up 1.2%. Mr. Rajani, anything in the defense space that catches your attention? Of course, this is one sector which will benefit immensely if the blowout indeed happens in the Middle East.
Yeah, so as you said rightly that they have been showing a great amount of strength in the recent past, and Bharat Electronics and Cochin Shipyard and Hindustan Aeronautics, all these stocks are trading around their 52-week and all-time highs, and they have not even breached their 5 days EMA in this correction. So despite getting all this negative news from the geopolitical and global markets, these stocks have not even breached the 5 days EMA, the nearest moving average support on the chart. So it is a very good sign. They are into a bullish momentum, and this trend is still intact. I don't see any weakness coming in Bharat Electronics is holding in the range for last 4-5 session. The lower side 226 is the level, on the higher side 238 is the level. But primary trend is bullish for the stock like Bharat Electronics, as well as for Hindustan Aeronautics, as well as for Cochin Shipyard. So this entire defense space is holding very well, and we should continue to remain bullish. As of now, I don't see anything which is giving a reversal sign. So we should stay intact with this strength, and these are the outperformer stocks. So we should continue to remain bullish on this kind of space, defense space, as well as the stocks which we have discussed.
Okay, we'll pay attention to the auto ancillary space. This is ahead of the planned visit of Mr. Elon Musk to India. He's to meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi over the weekend. Lots of activity happening in mid-cap auto ancillary stocks. On circuit are Talbros Auto, 307.95, 5% higher. Rane Engines, 364, 5% higher. Stocks such as Subros are up 2%. Lumax Industries up 3.57%, and Igarshi Motors up 6%, 476. The enthusiasm pertains to probably an announcement of a very big investment into India by Tesla, and many of the original equipment suppliers to Tesla in the American markets who are based out of India are doing phenomenally well on the charts. Let's get Mr. Rajani into this conversation. Vinay, any auto ancillary stock that catches your attention, maybe Exide, or anything that looks good to you on the charts?
Yeah, so Minda is a very strong setup on the chart. So it is one of the auto ancillary space, and which has been performing very well. And for the investors, it has been a very good stock also. It has recently given a breakout of the consolidation, which was there for last 5 months, and it surpassed the previous all-time high of 725 and went up to 763. Right now, it is trading at 721. But I believe that the overall setup is quite good, and this is one of the good quality auto ancillary stocks we can choose from. Other stocks which you talked about have some less liquidity and not a trader's favorite stock. So I would rather pick a stock which is having good liquidity, good management, and good technical setup. So Minda is a quite strong setup. Another one is the Bharat Forge, which is looking good to me. So these are the stocks which can be looked at from the auto ancillary space. And definitely, if market sustains and follow buying comes in, then definitely small cap stocks like Subros and Talbros Autos and other stocks from this space can be looked at. But at this point of time, when some sort of uncertainty is there from the global market, I would rather recommend that we should stay away from the smaller stocks which is having less liquidity. So Minda I would definitely prefer, followed by Bharat Forge.
Okay, so that's as far as the auto ancillary space is concerned, but a lot of gainers coming in from the auto pack as well. Force Motors is now up by 11.8% at 9,024. And apart from this, of course, I did mark Maruti, and along with it, even M&M is pulling up in trade. It's now up around 2.4% in the F&O space as well. TVS Supply Chain Solutions is another one that's up 14% odd in trade right now. Apart from this, Ramakrishna Forgings, that's up by 6% in trade. So the entire space is actually buzzing in trade. Where else would you look for, buying at this point in time, Mr. Rajani, as far as the auto space is concerned, the frontline OEMs?
Yeah, so from the auto space, from the tractor segment, I would go long in the stock like Escorts. Escort looks very strong to me, followed by Maruti. Maruti setup is quite strong, but first preference I will give to Escort, because in last 5-6 section we have seen that it has shown a strong setup, and in the falling market also it remained strong, and today it is up by 3.5% with rising volumes. For if you see a chart for last 3-4 sessions, continuously volume has been going up along with the price. So this gives me a confidence. Now stock is above its 50 days EMA. There has been a trend line breakout on the weekly chart as well. So great setup on the chart. So preference should be given to Escorts. And the second setup which I like on the chart is the Maruti. So these two stocks are looking stronger to me, but first priority should be given to Escorts.
First priority should be given to escorts. Okay. The other entire space that's in the thick of action is the metals pack, like I was saying, Hindustan Copper, Jindal Steel. You also have Tata Steel that's pulling up in trade. SAIL is up and about 1% higher in trade. NMDC is up by 0.2%. The entire space is coming back. Do you see sustaining move in the metal space, Mr. Rajani, and any particular stock that you can highlight from here?
Yeah, so metal space, definitely there is a breakout internationally also in the US metal and mining index is there, in which we saw a couple of weeks back there was a clear cut long term breakout, and in fact we can say 10-year breakout there. And the Bloomberg commodity index that we used to track, in which gold is also a part of the index, followed by the crude as well as some metal stocks and copper, like a copper. So overall internationally some positive cues are coming, and along with that domestic metal stocks are performing well. So sector setup is quite good, and if I were to choose only one stock out of the metal space, then Jindal Steel and Power looks very strong today. So Jindal Steel has given a breakout from the flag pattern on the daily chart. So that looks very good and very strong, and it has got potential to extend its rally. So Jindal Steel can be looked at, followed by the Hindustan Copper. So internationally, we have seen that LME Copper and the COMEX Copper, all this US Copper as a commodity has been rising, and if those rising, then the stocks like Hindustan Copper can benefit out of it. So Jindal Steel and Hindustan Copper, these are the two stocks which I like technically on the chart, as well as backed by some international and intermarket analysis also.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's now almost 2:50. We have the last 40 minutes of trade left on what has truly been a very remarkable day. The Nifty showing all signs of further intraday highs. 22,150 is right there in front of you. As far as the Bank Nifty is concerned, almost 500 points is what we have gained from yesterday's close, and about almost 950, 980 points from intraday lows. I hesitate to take technical calls from this point of time, because over the weekend is when most wars that take place, and we open gap down, and that creates a problem for a lot of investors who are primarily long traders. Hindustan Aeronautics is at day's high 37.54. HDFC Bank, Mr. Rajani obviously will not comment, is now clicking very sharply at 15.28. I wish to mention its intraday low, and that will be an interesting number to look at. I think as far as futures are concerned, the intraday low of HDFC Bank today was somewhere like 1490, and it's now trading very well at about 15.28. So that is the kind of recovery that has happened on many stocks. Let's get Mr. Rajani into the conversation again. We've discussed at length Maruti and Bajaj Finance. How about looking at another stock, which is M&M, 2.6% higher, and showing all signs of making yet another record high. Mr. Rajani, what is M&M's chart telling you?
Yeah. So clear cut typical, we can say a textbook breakout from the flag pattern. So flag pattern is a continuation pattern. So on 10th April, we saw that stock hit a high of 2108, and from that level, today's low was 1998. So it has seen and witnessed some running correction, and today it has resumed the uptrend from the lower level. So now it confirms the flag pattern breakout on the daily chart. So it is a continuation pattern. Stock is near its all-time high and likely to surpass the previous swing high, which was at 2108. So looks very strong. Along with the escorts and Maruti, M&M is also one of the strong. So entire sector is doing well. Only two-wheeler stocks have witnessed some correction and into a downward momentum in last couple of sessions. But if you were to take the call on passenger vehicles or commercial vehicles, then or tractors, then M&M escorts are looking good, and from the passenger vehicles, Maruti can be looked at.
Yes, within the Nifty, let me mention 5 stocks that are trading at their intraday highs at the moment. HDFC Bank, we've just discussed, 1530, 2.2% higher. JSW Steel 861, 1.9% higher. I am purposely telling you futures prices because it's the last week of April's expiry that has begun today. Titan 35.53, a percent higher. M&M we've just discussed, and before that we had discussed Wipro 451, 1.3% higher. Let me just point out to some trends as well, which are a bit disconcerting. Look at Cipla. It's 1344. It's down 6.6 rupees, but that is not what I am trying to highlight. Cipla has been in a sustained downtrend. This is the 6th day of losses as far as Cipla is concerned, and the counter is trading at its lowest since January 31st. SBI Life similarly at 1445 is down about 9 rupees, but consistent underperformer over the last 7 trading sessions. Hero Motors down 1.5% at 4205, and the same trend is there on the short side, down about 6-7 trading sessions. This is what is happening in the broader markets. Let's also pay attention to some very good trades that are there in the market on the long side, and those are visible. Some of them we've discussed, but let's look at low stocks which have lower ticket sizes. Mr. Rajani, coming to you on Industowers, a lot of enthusiasm on the Vodafone Idea IPO, which is rubbing very well on this counter, 2.1% higher, but has risen for the past 7 days. What is your view on Industowers?
So not only for last 4-5 sessions, but if I were to see last 6 months, it is continuously giving positive returns. So since November 2023, it has been closing in green for last 6 months. So now, if I were to see long-term chart, there was a strong there was swing high resistance of 380 previously. To be precise, December 2017, and in September 2015 also there was a high of 375. So now it reaches near to the long-term resistance, which is just 20 or 25 rupees away. So there could be some extension of the pullback, but after rising for last 6 months, now it reaches to the strong double top resistance, which is placed near in the range of, let's say, 370 to 380, which is not that far. So 20 to 25 rupees pullback extension could be there, but we have to book profits in once we see that level coming, which is a strong resistance. So though it can continue to remain stronger for the longer term, but it can give you it can definitely respect the resistance which was there in 2015 and 2017 as well. So I see strong resistance around 370, 380 odd levels. Around that, traders should book profits and come on the sideline, and let's then wait for some correction to come to take a fresh entry up.
Fair point. Let's look at now the advanced decline ratio on the Nifty. It's moving fairly rapidly. Now we have the advanced decline ratio at 29:21. Needless to say, the index is at a record high, and we have a lot of activity coming in terms of volume as well. Let me just highlight the volume picture on the Nifty, and then we'll talk about some stocks. We've discussed Bajaj Finance and Wipro, but in terms of volume buzzers within the Nifty, since today is a special day, it's Bajaj Auto, 2.5% lower after stunning numbers, and the average being about 2.8 times its 5-day average. 12 lakh shares have been traded. Infosys and HDFC Life, these are all earning stocks that are now reacting on fairly strong volumes. Sakshi, what have you got?
Well, Shell, it's hit an all-time high today, very strong volumes. I think it's trading with nearly 3 times the average volumes right now. And this is also triggered by some sort of news that's trickling in that the company may be looking at issuing bonus shares on the results day that will be on April 26th. So we'll keep an eye out on Motilal Oswal Financial Services. Mr. Rajani, would you be able to give us a view on MOSL? And also, apart from this, if you could give us also, apart from MOFSL, a wider view on the entire broking space. We've been seeing a lot of companies really in the thick of action, Angel One, CAMS, they've all been buzzing one after the other, and today it's the turn of MOFSL.
Yeah, so definitely Motilal Oswal looks stronger on the charts and it is at all-time high today. After the news, it has gone up and more than 7% up. So as you said, the entire broking space, the AMC space, the wealth management space has been doing very well. So not only Motilal Oswal, but Angel One numbers were quite strong. ICICI Security numbers were quite strong. And now AMC stocks are also looking strong. BSE, CDSL, all these stocks which are related to capital market are looking stronger, and not only on the short term but positionally they are looking very strong. So if you are an investor, I see a big opportunity in the entire sector. So start doing SIP also. I feel that in the next 1 or 2 years this sector is going to give a very good returns, no doubt. Right now the data is favoring entire industry, but I feel that this shift is a bigger one and this can last for many years also in the coming time. So Motilal Oswal has risen a lot in last 2 3 weeks. So dips can be bought into. I would not suggest it for the trading, but definitely I look this entire space, the stocks which I have discussed, looking very strong on the positional basis. So any dip should be bought into with a view of next 3 to 4 months, and I am bullish on this entire space.
Okay, you're bullish on the entire space. Thank you so much, Mr. Rajani, for being with us on this very special edition and sharing with us all those wonderful insights and various stocks that you've discussed. Truly a pleasure to host you on Business Today. Let's now also welcome our other guest on the show for the last half an hour of trade in the markets. Prashant Tapsi joins in, research analyst and Senior Vice President Research at Mehta Equities. Prashant, good afternoon to you. Good to have you with us. Do tell us, what are you making of this sharp bounce in the markets, and where are you keeping your eyes out on?
I think it was a great day, great weekend to see such kind of bounce. Morning, everybody was ready to see a 400, 500 points downside gap up, gap down opening, but suddenly a sharp rally from the downside, 300 recovery from the low is a surprise. Yes, it's a good weekend. I think private banks are doing good. For me, SDFC Bank and ICICI Bank and Axis Bank are on my radar. They were looking good with respect to even considering the Q4 numbers which are about to come tomorrow and next week. All the private banks are going to do good. I think the Q4 numbers in March, business updates in SDFC Bank were really good, better than street estimates, and I think that stock can do better and take markets to the new higher.
Good afternoon to you, Prashant. Anything that catches your fancy in terms of BTST or STBT? Are you by any chance convinced that we've seen the worst behind us as far as Nifty is concerned?
I think not worst behind us, but weekend is a very risky factor. Always weekend, there are a lot of headlines coming from the other part of the world. So I think there should be a neutral, light-weighted trades going forward. I think I'm taking a BTST on Tata Motors, considering the way technically it is giving good breakout for me for a very short term, and again back to 1,000 levels in coming few days. Tata Motors would be a pick for me for BTST, but on a market side again, I should be very much light on the fresh trades to go for Monday.
Okay, so that's a view coming in from Tata Motors. This is a swing trade in the making. The counter has corrected substantially. The most recent high was 1065 and we are at 960. The day's low, of course, was 944. Let's also shift focus and look at HDFC Bank, the one that you just mentioned. Technically, what are the charts telling you on this one, Prashant?
I think the bounce is really good. The way how it has covered up from 1490 to the 1530 levels, the stock can do at least 1660 and 1680. 600 is a resistance which everybody is waiting for, and I think post results there will be some kind of momentum in the levels if the numbers are really good, better than the street estimates. So 1560 would be a level to watch, and if it closes above this today or Monday, again 16 plus 1600 plus would be a level we can see coming few days.
Okay, Prashant, the other big stock to watch out for as far as earnings is concerned is the big boy of the street, and that's Reliance Industries, which comes out with its earnings on Monday. For a change, it usually is a weekend on a Friday, and the whole weekend that we take to really analyze the entire earnings before the stock reacts on the next Monday. But this time it's going to be straight on Monday and the entire week when we will have to look at Reliance Industries. How are you really looking at Reliance Industries? Right now it's up by 0.4%. Would you be going in with a buy trade ahead of earnings?
I will be going long if the stock goes above 2970 levels today or Monday. So that would be a level for me on a closing basis. If it goes, then 30,020, 3050 would be a level on or before the results. But overall, I'm positive on the company and their earnings would be better than street estimates. They are going to give us a best margins, I think, in the history of Reliance industry. That is what the street is expecting. And 3000, 3050 would be a level on or before the results.
Okay, so that's the view coming in on Reliance Industries as well. Apart from this, there's one more stock that I wanted to discuss that's been in the thick of action as far as the Nifty stocks are concerned, and that's Bharti Airtel. Again today, the stock is up by 1.7%. It's been gaining all that momentum. How are you looking at it, and where do you see the next target coming in for Bharti Airtel?
Bharti Airtel being the favorite of mine in the Indian telecom sector, if we are ready to pay 18,000 crores to Vodafone Idea, so I think it's a best play to have a Bharti Airtel in the portfolio. For me, a long-term target would be anywhere between 1,500 to 1,600 rupees for a one-year target. But yes, I think there will be a lot of price hikes going forward in the telecom industry once the elections are over. So any price hike in the industry would be benefiting Bharti Airtel as well as Jio. But idea being a small brother of everybody, so I think that will be facing a lot of problem in rising their tariffs. But yes, if they are successfully getting 18,000 crores from public, I think that will be a great deal and a great success for a telecom industry. Bharti Airtel for me is a great company. I think a lot of business models have been great. The margins are really improving, and the customers are really happy to be a part of Bharti Airtel. I think for an investor, again, 1,500 would be a target for me in Bharti Airtel.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are now 24 minutes away from what is going to be a remarkable day as far as Indian equities are concerned. Let's look at the Nifty again. We are at 22,150 almost, up about 150 points in the green. And from the day's low, it's been a remarkable journey of about, let's say, 350 points. Let's look at some stocks that have contributed to today's gain as far as the Nifty is concerned. HDFC Bank has contributed 38 points. ICICI Bank has contributed 16 points to the green as far as Nifty is concerned. Both Bajaj Finance and Bharti Airtel respectively 15 points each, and M&M 13 points. What's pulled the index lower are the IT stocks, as also L&T. A bit of a sell-off on L&T today. Remember, early morning this was the top loser amongst the 10 heavyweights, down 1%, 35.12. And it's contributed a negative 11 points to Nifty's tally. TCS, Infosys, Bajaj Auto and HCL Tech all contributing between 9 and 4 points respectively within the Nifty's pull down. Let's also look at two counters. One is Sona Comstar. This is of course a very well known ancillary supplier to Tesla. The counters at 679. The reason why I point this out to you is that it's made a very smart recovery from intraday lows. 660 was the low and now at 681. And the other one is RK Forging. This is a company which informed shareholders yesterday that it had got a 400 crore order from Tesla. The counter at 768, up another 7%. These are the two stocks that I'd like to get your attention on. And one of the most favorite stocks from the market and the Tata group is Trent. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to blow out. A very strong breakout expected. Prashant, your views on Trent? The counter up 1.6%, 41.54, another record high in the making.
I think it has been the best in the counter for Tata group. The stock has given a really great, and technically I think 4,200 would be a level to watch out for. Once it closes above this, again the upside is open for the counter. I think one should wait for 4,200 to take a fresh call. Otherwise, one should wait and watch in the counter.
Okay, this is what is the view that is coming on Trent. A couple of stocks that I'd like to mark just in terms of price action that we are seeing is Jio Finance. Remember, the earnings are due today, and the stock is now about 2.5% lower. It hit a record high in yesterday's trade at about 370.8. Positionally, Prashant, what are Jio's charts telling you?
I think the stock is headed towards downside to 350 levels. The upside over and done for the stock. If you consider the results which are due today, I think there will be no surprises in the results. Anyhow, the business model is still yet to start with all the news which was there last week with respect to the BlackRock and other JVs. They have done it, but it's a long-term story. 1 or 2 years, if anybody has a time to hold it for a better return, I think that can be a good stock to hold it. But time being, I think 350 would be a level I am watching for post the results. So if they are already holding it, I think it should be an exit call at these levels, 370 levels.
Okay. Well, a whole host of other spaces that are moving, especially the defense pack with HAL now up 2% higher in trade. The entire space is in the buzz. And the one stock that I'm looking at within this space is Premier Explosives as well, 3.3% higher for this one. And there is news flow too to back this kind of a move. The company is announcing a stock split of 1:5. And of course the record date will be issued pretty soon on this one, but the board has approved a stock split of 1:5 shares. The stock has been in an uptrend. If you look at the kind of move that we've seen in this entire year, 33% up. But the last 1 year is the kind of move that we've seen will surprise you. 406% kind of return is what we've already seen on this one too. Prashant, how would you really analyze the charts of Premier Explosives? Fantastic set of movement in the last 1 year. Will the momentum sustain?
I think the way how defense sectors are moving and the government focus and globally the geopolitical tension are keeping focus on these kind of stocks. I think the business will be growing very faster, better than the last few years. For me, the valuation wise, it is already overvalued at this point of time, 2000 levels. I am not going to be a fresh buyer in the counter. But yes, if the growth is really good, the 20-25% CAGR for next 5 years, and the investor is looking for investing for next 5 years, then only the stock can be lucrative at these levels. Otherwise, I would like to wait for at least 1800 levels to buy fresh on this counter. But overall, the sector is good, the promoters are good, the business model is really great to hold it for long term.
Hold it for long term. That's as far as the defense pack is concerned, and on Premier Explosives the view. Let's shift gears and also discuss with you the other moving sector, and of course which is in the thick of action in terms of earnings, is the life insurance space. We did see HDFC Life come out with the earnings. SBI Life is in momentum today, again 1.5% move. LIC is again moving higher in trade today. About 1.5% of a move can be seen on this one too. We did see ICICI Lombard also perform in the last few trading sessions. A substantial move was seen on this one too. So the entire space is again buzzing in trade. How are you looking at this space, and which stock really appeals to you at the current levels on charts?
As a sector, I think the numbers are not so good for the life insurance. The Q4 numbers are not so good. This is my assumption. I think the weaker numbers are getting discounted in the price right now. But again, if you want to buy something else in this counter, again, SBI Life would be a stock one should look at because of the higher growth in terms of their premium recovery. I think SBI Life would be a great stock to look for long term. Again, if a trader want to buy it, again, SDFC Life is good at this level. If you see the price are already discount and it is trading at a oversold position right now. So any fresh position at 600 levels, 620, 650 can be a target for SDFC Life. So that would be a stock for a trader. As an investor, I think SBI Life would be a stock to go long.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, there is a stock which I normally avoid marking, but given the 15% rally ahead of earnings that is happening, one has to sort of look at both price and volume. Force Motors, this is a company that makes commercial vehicles that are used for tourism. 9389, almost 9400 rupees the counters up 16%, and the volume is phenomenal. We have done somewhere like 3.5 lakh shares, and this is the highest since 11th of August, when the stock was at 3,283. So very sharp breakout happening. We'll avoid a technical call because it's already 16% higher, and the earnings are due over the weekend, it seems. What else is clicking in the green? Let me mark PTC. This is Power Trading Corporation, somewhere like 200 and I'm sorry, PTC is I'm getting at 280 rupees. PTC Financial Services. No, this is some other price. We'll avoid it. Yes, it's with the weekend approaching, ladies and gentlemen. Why will Zomato not click in the green? A very sharp move coming in at 190. This is a swing trade again in the making. Down 4 days, and the all-time high is 200 rupees. Prashant, what does Zomato's chart tell you in the medium term?
I have a very different view. The way how climate is going so hot in every place of India, people will not approach to go outside and have any dinner or lunch. So Zomato will be highly in demand, and technically 200, 205 and 210 can be a target for at least a very short-term basis. But overall, I think Zomato has shown us a trend where people can enjoy the same taste at home. So that will be a great stock to hold it for long term as well. But the way I think, looking at chart, 200, 205 can be a target with a very small stop loss of 182.
Okay, fine. This is what is appearing on the charts. What's also clicking is HDFC Bank, ladies and gentlemen, 1533. And an important event on the charts has happened as far as HDFC Bank is concerned. The price that you see has now moved above the 200-day moving average. Remember, this was a test that had happened 3 or 4 days ago, and at the moment the close should be above the 200-day moving average, and that of course will bring in a new set of traders and a new set of enthusiasm on the long side as far as rally is concerned. Remember, today's gain on the Nifty and the Bank Nifty is almost entirely fueled by what has happened in the in the private banking space, primarily HDFC and ICICI Bank.
So that's the entire setup like, and the Nifty Bank has also climbed to the day's high point now, 1.16% higher in trade, 47,608 can be seen on this one. Let's also look at which are the banking counters that are contributing the most at this point in time as far as the Nifty gains are concerned. It's HDFC Bank, 67 points higher in trade as far as contribution to Nifty is concerned. ICICI Bank is contributing 21 points, Bajaj Finance is contributing 15 points. Along with it, there are 3 other counters from different sectors. ITC is contributing 14 points, Bharti Airtel 12.6 points, and M&M is contributing about 10 points in the kind of gains we are seeing on the Nifty. How would you really assess the move on ITC after a long haul of lying low? The stock is coming back in favor. Do you see this time there could be another set of a long uptrend?
I think yes, the last 4-5 days, the stock was underperforming and in line with the market momentum. Again, 435 would be a level and a resistance for a market. If closes above this, we can see a 450 levels going forward. But yes, it's a small mover, but yes, it can change the market trend as well. So another 25 rupees momentum can be seen in next very short term period. 435 is a resistance. It has to close above this for higher moves.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have Mr. Narendra Taneja, a very well-known global expert on energy, especially the oil markets in the Middle East, joining us over phone. Mr. Taneja, good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for sparing your time joining us on Market Today. We'd just like to know how you see the global oil market given the flare-up that's happened in the Middle East. How is the market placed at this point of time?
Hello.
Yeah, Mr. Taneja, your views on the oil market as of now?
I can't hear anything.
Can you hear us, sir?
The line is very noisy. Please call again and connect.
E- okay.
Hello. Hello.
Connect you again. This is a very noisy line. PCR. Yeah, Mr. Taneja, am I audible to you, sir?
Hello. I can't hear you. Can you? The line is not clear. Very noisy. Can't hear a word.
We'll patch you again, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, meantime, we have about 10 minutes of trade left, 150 points higher on the Nifty, 22,147. And on our way out before markets close, it's the auto ancillary space that is doing phenomenally well. A stock that I'd like to mark and has been discussed very often is Shriram Pistons. This is again 0.5% higher. I'm sure this is sort of near its record high of about 2100 rupees. Yes, 2050, the all-time high being 2196. By any chance, Prashant, do you track Shriram Pistons? Prashant, this one was for you.
Yes,
At least
yes.
it's not audible to me.
Yes, I think
Sakshi,
it's
will you
audible
take
now.
over?
Hello?
Yes, please. Could you offer your views on Shriram Pistons?
Yes, I think I was lucky
can
to
hear you.
add this stock. We were lucky to add this stock at 1600 levels few months back and exited almost near 1800 and 1900 levels on a trading basis. But fundamentally, yes, this stock is really good and doing great in terms of their margins expansion and all. I think now also there is a good momentum expected. At least 2200 can be a level we can watch if this recovery, today's level is really true. So a stop loss of 2000 rupees can be a level to book losses. But again, 2200 would be a level which I am looking for the stock for very short term.
Okay, Sakshi, what are you watching?
One stock, Dynacon Systems, that's shot up again in trade today. A very sharp surge can be seen on this one. Almost 14% of a move can be seen on this. Remember, this stock has been in action on the back of several news flows for order wins from NABARD that the company has been looking at. And again, today there's a 14.4% surge on this one. Do you track this company at all? Prashant, and could you tell us what the charts tell you? In the last 1 year, the stock has given a 200% kind of a return. And this small cap stock has been constantly hitting upper circuits as well.
Sorry, but I'm not able to get that code on my charts.
This is Dynacon Systems, Dynacons, Dynacon Systems.
I'm not able to get the stock on my chart, but I'm not even tracking the stock. So sorry.
Okay.
I cannot.
Okay. Fair enough. I think we do have Narendra Taneja back on the phone line with us. Mr. Taneja, good afternoon. Can you hear us?
Yes, good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
Very good afternoon to you, sir. Thanks for giving us your time on Business Today television. Of course, everybody is looking at where the crude oil prices are headed from here amidst the escalating geopolitical tensions in Middle East. How do you see the crude oil prices now panning from here? We've already crossed the $90 a barrel mark.
Well, this 90 is basically in response to what Israel did to Iran, this morning. And as you know, the oil is a political commodity and extremely sensitive to what happens in the Middle East in particular. So therefore, the market has reacted the way they reacted. But now when you look at the response from Iran, a country which has been attacked by Israel, according to Israel and many other sources, now Israel says, no, we have not been attacked. There have been some kind of infiltration and they're not calling it attack, which means that Iran is not going to retaliate. That's a very, very positive sign. And Iran's responsible basically is that we don't want to escalate. Not that they had not escalated earlier, but right now they are saying they don't want to escalate. That's the message, which means that Israel would also have to respond to it. So that's a good news as far as oil price is concerned. Whatever the crude oil price today, or what has been the, let's say, the last 2 weeks, is there is a kind of $8 to $10 per barrel, geopolitical premium. And I think, if situation stabilizes in the Middle East, that premium will, of course, gradually get eliminated. But right now, I don't really see, unless, of course, Iran decides to respond, retaliate, and the things go out of the control, which doesn't look very high, doesn't look likely, because the United States is putting a lot of pressure on Israel, not to escalate. And Iran is under pressure from Russia and from China not to escalate. So therefore, I don't really see, unless, that happens or something goes completely out of control, it's very difficult to predict. But I think the situation is kind of okay. It's escalating, but that is not escalating, outside the limits. So therefore, the oil markets are not going to really show much anxiety. There is anxiety, but I think it's a controlled anxiety. Therefore, you are not going to see prices climbing up further. My own sense is probably oil prices will start dropping again, go back to 87, 85. And then over a period of time, if there is not much geopolitical anxiety and things start basically, panning out in the right direction, then you will see prices going back to the $80 per barrel, which should be the price based on demand and supply fundamentals. Geopolitics premium, let's say $8 to $10, that should go away if, geopolitically things stabilize in the Middle East.
Mr. Taneja, if you look at yesterday, if you just put out the tensions between Israel and Iran out, how was the supply and demand situation in the oil market?
Well, good question. You see, right now, when you look at the demand and supplies, scenario, there is demand is not growing. I mean, in fact, the IEA came out with a report just 7 days ago. They say, look, they don't see any growth in terms of demand. So that means the demand is stable. Supply side, there is absolutely no constraint. Russian oil is flowing into market, Iranian oil is flowing into market. So global oil supply system is kind of well taken care of. Absolutely no shortage. There is no disruption, so to say. And so therefore, demand and supply fundamentals are perfectly in order. Whatever the demand, there is enough oil available in the market. But if the war escalates or the tension escalates, and the shipping lines or the oil supply lines are disrupted or attacked, let's say Suez Canal or the Red Sea or Strait of Hormuz, then things can go completely out of control. But right now it looks like that all countries involved in the Middle East, they have kind of are under pressure from external forces and maybe even from some parts of the domestic constituency, that they seem to be kind of doing whatever they're doing, but it all seems to be basically satisfy the domestic audience or the cry from Israeli people to retaliate or cry from Iranian people to retaliate. But politicians are doing it in such a way that is well synchronized, is regulated, and it's so that it doesn't get out of the control. So as far as this picture remains, we don't need to worry. Demand, I don't really see the kind of demand going up in any time soon, not in next 3-4 months, unless it's a very hard summer. That is difficult to predict at this stage. But otherwise, demand supply picture is quite comfortable. Geopolitics, if things don't go out of the control, kind of seems to be okay today. But oil is a political commodity. What happens tomorrow is very difficult to predict.
So by year end, where do you see the crude oil prices headed? You did say in the immediate term you do see it cooling off till, if at all things cool down from on the geopolitical front, to $87, $85 a barrel. But towards the end of the year, where do you see the crude oil prices headed?
Well, I will answer in two parts. You see, if there is a geopolitical trigger from the Middle East or Ukraine or all that, then it's very difficult to say. But if there is no major geopolitical trigger, you go strictly only by demand and supply, then by this year end, the oil prices may go in the region of, let's say, $85 to $87 per barrel for Brent on a kind of sustained basis. Not to 90, not to 95, because there's plenty of oil available. And of course, it will also depend, for instance, in terms of regulations and all that, in transition from fossil fuels to renewable. But that's a medium to long-term story. What we are seeing today is, an investment has started flowing into oil and gas exploration production, which is a good news. And let's not forget one thing, that green energy, renewables, hydrogen, all these are great things, of course, on the map. But at the same time, for next 15 to 20 years, world economy, Indian economy, the main source of energy will continue to be fossil fuel, oil, gas, and coal. So that's the situation. As long as investment is flowing into fossil fuels, I think one doesn't really need to worry. Luckily, after COVID, investment has again started going into exploration of oil and gas, which is a positive news. So therefore, the prices will keep going up, because the demand will keep going up. But I think so far, so the prices will also be going only in that proportion, unless there is a major, increase in demand and all that, which I don't see happening on the horizon in immediate future.
Mr. Taneja, what has been the average price of the Indian crude oil basket in the last quarter?
Well, good question. If you look at the last quarter, particularly the last 6 weeks, Indian basket is in the region of about, 80 to $83 per barrel, which is of course not a very good news because that's thanks to the Russian oil. And usually the kind of Indian basket, if you're in the region of $75, that's kind of a comfortable news because that's what our economy, our refiners, our fiscal deficit, our economy as a whole is designed to handle. But if Indian basket goes beyond 80 on a sustained basis, let's say 82, 83, today, for instance, it will be almost $85 per barrel. So that's not a good news. That's a bad news because particularly for the economy, Indian economy, we import roughly 87.8% of our total requirement oil, which is in the region of about 5.4 million barrels a day. We are the third largest consumer of oil on the planet, and we are also the fourth largest importer of oil in the world. So therefore, our dependence is very high. Consumption is only going up. If you look at the data of last 4 months, demand for petroleum products like petrol, diesel, turbine fuel, LPG, everything has gone up.
Right. Mr. Taneja, the last question from my side at least. History has told us that the Middle East or West Asia is full of hotheads, and generally the escalation happens on the weekend. In the worst case scenario, sir, do you see a high three digit on the oil price as far as India is concerned, say over the next 1 week or so?
To be honest, unless of course the whole thing turns into a full-blown war, then of course it will go up to $120 per barrel, no doubt. But my own sense is looking at the geopolitics and looking at the fact that there are elections in the U.S. and America still plays a very important role in terms of, what happens in Israel and even in Saudi Arabia to some extent. So therefore, I don't think President Biden would like to see oil prices going anywhere between $80 per barrel. If oil prices go $100 per barrel, he will lose the election. And of course, he would not like that to happen. So which means that American pressure and the fact that America is still the biggest player in the oil, politics and oil economy globally, oil is still traded in American currency, there's dollar. So therefore, I think America, geopolitical, and they're going to ensure that, things in the Middle East don't go out of the control. They're exercising unprecedented pressure on the Israeli Prime Minister not to escalate. And Iran is not in a position, economically speaking, that, to afford a war. Iran can't afford a war. Israel is very busy in Gaza, and their first priority is, of course, Gaza, and they're completely drowned there militarily speaking. So I think when I look at the overall picture, no country wants a war. The world as a whole doesn't want a war. Russia and China are also putting pressure on Iran. So therefore, I'm reasonably optimistic, unless, of course, something goes wrong, by mistake a missile goes off, a city is destroyed, or some installation destroyed, or some tanker is, that's a different story. Unless that happens, I think if things remain under control as they are today, oil prices will actually, instead of going up, will start going southward in coming few weeks.
The year when over 50 countries will be going for elections, and ours has just begun as well. Many thanks, Mr. Taneja, for being with us on this very special edition and sharing such wonderful insight as far as oil prices and the current geopolitical situation is concerned. Truly a pleasure to host you, and next time we do hope to see you as well on our channel on the video platform too, and not just on the phone. All right, viewers, we have come to the end of this edition, and right now if you see, the closing ticks are in front of us as far as Nifty Nifty is concerned, 22,147. We've managed to come towards the high point of the day, towards the end of the session as well. 151 point of a bounce and a sharp recovery of over 350 points from the day's low for the Nifty. The Nifty Bank also 500 points higher in trade, 1% up and about. The top movers, Bajaj Finance, M&M, Maruti, HDFC Bank, JSW Steel as the big movers on the trade. We'll leave you at that. Many thanks for joining us, but do stay tuned on to Business Today as we continue to track all the news from the world of business and finance for you. Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi Batra. Well, this is a special edition where we are going to be focusing on the election season. Of course, that's kick-started today. Over the next